And welcome to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Fast podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love, and today we will be talking all things NFL Week 10. NFL Week 10 is in the books, or NFL Week 9, Week 10 is this upcoming week. NFL Week 9 is in the books, but that just shows you time is flying. We have some big time matchups. We'll talk about it was upset city in the NFL this week. The Bills beating the Chiefs. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Jaden Daniels' injury. We will also talk about Denver being able to survive against Houston. We'll get into Carolina pulling off a big time upset in Lambeau. All of that we will talk about right here on the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. But let's just get into it. Let's start here with the Sunday slate, the early slate. The early slate was absolute cinema. Let's get into it. We will start in the Steel City, where the Pittsburgh Steelers, after losing back-to-back games, stunned the Colts here 27-20. The Steelers forced 6 turnovers in this game. That one stat alone is why they won. They had 24 points off of those 6 turnovers. That right there is the reason that they won the football game. That's the reason. When you are able to get 24 points off of turnovers, more than likely you're going to win the game. The Colts lost this game when TJ Watt came around. They're up 7-0 at this time. TJ Watt comes around the corner. Again, he does a little nice dip and rip. Braden Smith knocks the ball out. They take it away. And at that moment, it was like 10 first downs to 0. At that moment in time, it looked like the Colts were going to go up 14-0 and they were just going to dominate the rest of the way. And it didn't happen. TJ Watt did a classic TJ Watt thing. And we have to be honest about it. This Colts offensive line played as bad as you can play. Run blocking wasn't good. The pass blocking, mainly the tackles, were awful. Smith and Ryman, I don't know what their issue was in this football game. You also have to give a boatload of credit to Highsmith and TJ Watt. And look, Pittsburgh came to play, mainly their linebackers. It was they simplified the defense, and Peyton Wilson and company, they were flying around. They were flying around. Now, the secondary, I still have reservations about, obviously, because Joey Porter had like 5 DPIs in this football game. But yeah, in terms of the Colts defense, I actually think the Colts defense played pretty well. Again, I do think Arthur Smith called a conservative game. I do believe that because the defense was playing so well. They held the Colts held the Steelers to 225 yards. They didn't even run the ball well. They ran 1.7 yards a carry or 1.8 yards a carry for the Steelers. So the Steelers, look, offensively didn't really get going. I thought Lou Anarumo called a great game for the Colts. I thought he did. But the reason they lost was the offense. Because the offense couldn't do anything, couldn't get anything going. Jones, worst performance of the season. JT, why is he only getting the ball 14 times in that football game? Like, why is he only getting it 14 times? You have to ask yourself these questions. And look, I just don't think the game plan was good from jump. Shane Steichen, you didn't really give Ryman and Smith any help. Look, Ryman, I believe, is a really good offensive tackles, one of the best in the game. Smith is decent. You have to give you maybe not Ryman against Highsmith because that's a matchup that you probably pick your guy in, even though Highsmith is really good against T.J. Watt. I don't care who you are, Chip, give him some help. You gotta give him some help there. And they left mainly Smith on an island all game, and T.J. Watt's gonna take advantage of that. I thought the Steelers did a great job of giving different looks as well. They didn't have to blitz as much or hardly at all because their front four, they just got off after them. That was a classic Pittsburgh Steelers game. It was a classic Steelers game. Ugly. Defense plays great. Offense is eh. They force turnovers and they find a way to win. Against the Patriots, they forced 5 turnovers and they won the game. Against the top 2 teams in the AFC right now, the Colts and the Patriots, they forced 5 against New England. They forced 6 against Indianapolis. They have 11 turnovers in those 2 games. If the Steelers can get turnovers, they can beat anybody. But if they don't, they can lose to anybody. That's kind of just how I feel in terms of that. I think Indy is fine. I think they're fine. I think, look, they hadn't really played a bad game this season, or a dud game. That was their first dud game this season. I do truly believe that the Indianapolis Colts are fine. I believe the Steelers, we'll see what they do against Chargers Sunday night this upcoming week, but I believe, look, got back on track. It's a great win for them in a back against the wall spot. They really needed this game, and look, they went out there and they got it. So the Steelers are 5-3 now. Colts down to 7-2. Colts play in Germany this week against Falcons, and then after that there's a bye, and then they got the Chiefs after that. So we will see how the trajectory of these 2 teams going forward. Also, Thursday night, Baltimore beat Miami. Not really covering that because, look, Baltimore, they dominated. Miami sucks. Miami's in shambles. They're I don't know if Waddle's going to get moved at the deadline. Chubb probably going to get moved. Jalen Phillips got moved to Philadelphia. So, yeah. Now, let's actually get to San Francisco. San Francisco beats the Giants 34-24. The third straight year the Giants have started 2-7. The Niners sliced and diced them up. Let's just be honest about it. Dable's done. Let's just be honest about it. He's done. You cannot sit up here and convince me for doesn't matter how long it is. You cannot sit up here and convince me that Dable should get another year. What would be your reasoning? Seriously, what would be your reasoning for Dable getting another year? What in the world would be the reason? He doesn't need a quarterback. He doesn't have enough talent. They have enough talent to be winning games this team. This team is 2-7 because A, they didn't start dark from the jump. B, their defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, he's cost them 2 games. They could, even if this game happened, if they were 4-5, bad game. If they were 4-5, you'd feel better. Even though it's a bad loss, you'd feel better. They're competing. Again, bring start in. They beat the Chargers. Then they lose to Saints where it's just like 5 turnovers. And it's just like, oh my goodness. Then they beat the Eagles on that Thursday night. The Broncos game, that blew up the season. When you lose a game like that and how they lost it, Yeah, they're done. Done. Niners, I've said it multiple times on this show. I've said it on the radio show with my partner Marcellus, Locked On Sports, WCRD 91.3, Mondays from 4 to 5, Fridays from 5 to 6. I've said this. Shanahan is a wizard. Solid or is a wizard. The fact that this team, with all the injuries, and just you gotta think about the people that left in the offseason. Hufanga left, Greenlaw left, Debo left. Who was the other? Devondre Campbell had obviously the little incident, but then we go. But then we come into this season. We come into the season. Kittle started off as hurt. Now Kittle's playing now, obviously, but then Purdy's hurt. Purdy's played 2 games this season. Purdy's hurt. Now Nick Bosa out for the year. Warner out for the year. Michael Williams gets hurt in this game. Out for the year. Ayuk, don't know when he's coming back. Pearsall's missed games. Juwan Jennings has missed games. It got to a point where they had to play Kendrick Bourne as a number 1 receiver. The only one who's been there consistently that's really what a starter is McCaffrey. But yet, they find ways to win. They're so beat up. It's ridiculous how beat up they are. Yet they're still finding a way to be 6-3 and in the hunt for an NFC West division title. And you have to be honest about it. Look, they play the Rams this week. That's probably going to be America's game of the week. And the Niners are so injured. If they sweep the Rams, McVay, that's a brutal one. If that happens. Right now, Seattle's on top of the division. That's big. Look, I'm just looking at San Francisco and their schedule to end the season. I'm looking at it. Rams at home, or middle towards the end. Rams at home, at Cardinals, Panthers at home, at Browns, Titans at home, at Colts, Chicago, Seattle. Now, those final 3 games are like, wow, rough. But there's a good chance you make the playoffs. At Browns and against the Titans, you should at Cardinals. I know it's a division game, but you should win at Cardinals, at Browns versus Titans. That should be 9 wins right there, if we're just being honest about it. Browns don't have an offense. Titans just stink. And I know the Cardinals have been playing well, but if you want to go to playoffs, you got to win that game. So that should be 9 right there. And then because I don't even know 10-7 gets you in. Either you have to win 2 of these games. Rams, Bears, Colts, Seahawks. You have to win 2 of those 4. You do that, I believe you're in. 11-6 will get you in. 10-7. In this NFC, I don't know. So yeah, I'm just telling you. San Francisco, look, wizardry. Absolute wizards. Salah and Shanahan are. Great win by them in MetLife. Dable, you're done. I think it's sealed. Unless you win 8 straight, no, you're which isn't happening. You're done. Now I'm kind of gonna skim through this game. Chargers Titans. Chargers win 27-20. I mean Titans. They fought again. 1-7 football team, and you're not being aggressive. You're not letting Cam. In the criticals, you are not letting Cam make decisions. You're taking the ball out of his hands. Look, the Chargers, it's a good win. Oh, also, some big news. Joe Alt season-ending ankle injury. Look, I don't know how the Chargers are going to make a run if both of your all-pro, potentially O-linemen on the left and the right. Slater got hurt before the season started, and Joe Walt got hurt again. He had just came back, and they were playing well. Now they're gone again. The Chargers. To me, it's either the Broncos or Chiefs division. I don't see how the Chargers are going to beat out either of them just because with the injuries. I just don't see that. But good win for the Chargers. Now, let's go to this game. New England, Foxborough. New England survives against Atlanta 24-23. I put in the notes for the game a missed PAT cost the Falcons, and it did. Drake London makes a great catch to make it 24-23, and John Parker Romo misses the extra point. Ladies and gentlemen, New England is just finding a way. They're just finding ways to win. That's right now. That's what they do. Again, New England under Vrabel, look, started off 1-2. They've won 6 in a row. And you can say weak schedule, all that. I can listen to all that. I really can. But at the end of the day, they are finding ways to win. Look, in this game, I thought in the second half, they got stifled. I thought Atlanta Falcons even did a really good job. Where I thought the game turned a little bit from where, Atlanta's going to get blown out to, wow, Atlanta's actually in this, is at the end of the half, 21-7, May fumbles the ball. And I believe it was Jalen Walker knocked it out, picked it up, and took it down. He almost scored, and then the Falcons get something before the half, which they had 7 points before the half, which was huge to make it 21-14. Now, that to me, if the Falcons had won this game, that would have been the play of the game. Right, you will look at it right there. He got sacked 6 times. So look, Atlanta got after. Like their pass rush got after him. Again, Atlanta, a lot of talent on that football team. Forced May to throw an interception, made comfortable at times. Even though May was still really good in this game, still uncomfortable. Still made him uncomfortable. Atlanta's they find ways to beat themselves. They find a way to beat themselves, honestly. That is what is happening. They are finding ways to beat themselves. So that again, finding a way to beat themselves. Atlanta, you can't do that. And I think if Raheem Morris doesn't make the playoffs this season, I think he's gone. Whoa! Breaking news: the Jets have traded the 2 first-round picks. Blockbuster trade. As I'm recording this, the Jets have traded cornerback Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-round picks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, this is real, ladies and gentlemen. This is the trade deadline. Jacoby Myers, but that was before I was recording. He's in Jacksonville. Wow. Yeah, as I'm recording the pod here, look, the point is, the Patriots beat the Falcons. Are 7-2 SEs. Okay, now, let's talk about this for a second. The Indianapolis Colts needed another corner opposite Mooney Ward when he got back. When he gets back, Chris Ballard, aggressive, going to get Sauce Gardner. Now, Sauce Gardner obviously hasn't at times been, shaky. I understand that. But maybe he just needed a fresh maybe he just needed a fresh start. The Colts, that's not a move that they make usually. Now, do they make another one? I thought they would trade for Trey Hendrickson, or at least try to today. But wow. I Wow. That's a monster trade. Yes, this is your like instant live reaction to this, especially as a fan, because I don't know. Look, they're going to be able to play more man to man. Lou likes to switch it up. Obviously, be able to play some zone. But look, to get now two first round picks. Not really. Wow, because this is not a move Ballard would usually make. But finally, big big time move by Chris Ballard. Man, wow, what a trade! What a big time trade there for. And yeah, that's. I'll have more thoughts, and then I'll probably upload two videos tomorrow because obviously the selection or committees do the CFP committees doing their thing. So I'll probably upload two videos tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're gonna unless something else big breaks, we we'll talk about it. Okay, here. Let's kind of get back. Wow. That is great when you're recording an episode and something drop. And I thought this would be a good time. I thought this would be a good time just because okay, like my show though cuz I'm recording this at like 12:56. So, yeah. Wow. Wow. The trade deadline. Not missing right now. Culturally going all in. Anyways, let's get back on track. Carolina. Carolina goes into Lambeau Field and stuns the Packers 16-13. Now we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this. This game, first of all, give Carolina their flowers, Dave Canales. They've already tied their win total last year. Carolina right now, Rico Dowdle has changed the trajectory of the franchise. They ran for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bryce wasn't the greatest, but when the plays needed to be made, Carolina made them. The Packers didn't. Here's what I say about the Packers. That's an inexcusable performance at home against, let's be honest, an inferior team. Let's just be honest about it. That's inexcusable. That's an inexcusable performance. Shout out, you look, give Carolina all the flowers. I'm going to do it. Carolina, to me, I turn them on every Sunday, one of my first teams, because I love what they're doing there. But we have to be honest about it. This isn't the first time this performance has happened. This performance happened against Cleveland. This pretty much exact same performance. This performance was happening a little bit in the Dallas game. And to a point, it was happening against Arizona. This is why this is why, even though I think the Packers have the highest upside and I picked them to win the division and all that jazz, this is why if you say to me I don't trust the Green Bay Packers, you don't trust the Green Bay Packers, I understand. This type of performance, if you are a Super Bowl contender, week in, week out. Now you're gonna have a bad performance every now and then. I understand that. But this game, what's concerning is this game happened. They've played what, eight games, and 3 of the 8 this exact same performance has happened was happening or was happening in the Dallas game for a little bit. Then it happened now against Carolina and on the road against Cleveland. That so we have to be honest about it. Look, and that was in. You can say you can make the excuse. Okay, Cleveland defense great, whatever. Didn't have a good day. This Carolina defense just gave up 40 the week prior to Buffalo, and I know it's Josh Allen, but your offense is supposed to be up there with the Bills, and as one of the best in terms of the weapons. And Jordan Love, you just the stat line is going to show, oh, he was okay. No, he didn't play well. It's just as simple as that. They did not play well. Defense played well. Offense did not. And that is 2 games this season that you've given away given away essentially because that you've given away essentially because uh your offense just can't your offense has been stagnant, and that can't happen if you're Green Bay. Give credit to Carolina was due, but Green Bay, I was very disappointed in the way they played because I expected them to go out there and win by double digits, and they did it. Now I'm all over the place here. Let's go to Sunday night. Seattle, Washington. The reason I'm talking about this game now is because breaking news: Rashid Shaheed has been Rashid Shaheed, who was on the 1-8 Saints, their best receiver. He is traded. He is now a member of the Seattle Seahawks. Whoa! Seattle now, they were already really good. Now you have a speedster. Yeah, Seattle right now, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't think it's crazy to see this. Seattle can go to the Super Bowl. They're that good. Their quarterback's on a heater with Darnold. K9. Last year they couldn't run the ball. They can run the ball. Their offensive line is vastly improved. You have Jason. You have Cooper Kupp. Defensively, up front, you can get after him. Leonard Williams is a force side. You added DeMarcus Lawrence, who off the edge isn't what he once was, but can still get pressured in the back end. You still have Woolen and Witherspoon. Your linebackers are really good. McDonald, that defense. What else are they missing? What else are they missing? Genuinely, this trade deadline is wild right now. It's wild right now. Yeah. My bad. Looking at my phone there because again, Schefter just keeps rolling in. Teams, they're going for it. Yeah. So Sauce is now gone. To Indy, Shaheed is a Seahawk. Let's talk about this Jaden Daniels injury. Look, Jaden Daniels, the rookie year has been incredible. It was incredible. But we cannot sit up here. He should not have been in that game. He should not have been in that game. Let's just be honest about it. He should not have been in that game late. It's 38 to 7. It was 38 to 7. Look, I understand the rhythm and all that other stuff. I get it. I get it. But and like I know why they did it because okay, timing, rhythm, the offense has to look right. He's losing reps. He's not getting reps. But but you can't have him out there. You cannot jeopardize your franchise like that. You cannot jeopardize your franchise like that. You just cannot do that. So yeah, he should have been out there. I'm really trying my hardest to focus with this trade deadline. I might just scrap no, I'm not gonna scrap this, obviously. But I'll just make a whole new video addressing all the big moves. This is crazy. This this is wild. But yeah, uh it's a great win for Seattle. Chris Collinsworth talked about how impressed he was with Seattle. I was as well. Seattle played really good. Okay, let's get back to the early slate here. Minnesota beats Detroit 27-24. 27-24. The Vikings 14 to McCarthy 14-25, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Detroit is 25. Detroit drops to 5-3. The Vikings go to 4-4. Look, this in terms of like games I didn't see coming. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see the Vikings winning this game. I really didn't. And the reason I didn't, because, okay, JJ, their career start. Detroit's coming off a bye at home. Detroit coming off a bye and they're at home. You expect them to take care of business, even if it's against a division rival. Shout out Minnesota. I thought they were almost left for dead. Last week they said nah. I think their ability to run the football was big in this game, have some balance. I thought the defense was great. They were able to push the pocket against Goff. Goff got sacked 5 times. Montgomery had a big gain, and the ball was stripped there. Look, he did have a touchdown. Gibbs didn't do anything in this game. It was a struggle for Detroit, and it's a brutal loss because we just talked about Green Bay losing. Now, in terms of that division, oh man. Detroit. I think they'll be fine. They'll still make the playoffs. They can still win the division, and obviously they play the Packers on Thanksgiving, so that game's obviously around the corner. But that's a tough loss. That's a tough loss in the division. And now you get the Vikings hope. And speaking of the NFC North and teams that have hope, let's go to Cincinnati, where the Bears beat the Bengals 47-42 in an absolute classic, stunner. You name it. Wow. Let's just talk about this. Joe Flacco threw for a career high 470 yards and they still lost. Look, the Bears were up 41-27, and it was just a bunch of craziness. They go 3-and-out. Then Flacco goes down. Okay, no timeouts. They get a touchdown. Then they go for 2. Then the Bengals recover an onside kick. And then they go down. Higgins makes a tough catch to help get them down there. They go down. Touchdown. 51 seconds left on the clock. The Chicago Bears then go down with 1 timeout, scored close to Loveland. They hit him over the middle. Jordan Battle doesn't wrap up, and Loveland goes to the house. Here is the thing about this game that's crazy. And Bengals fans, I'm about to unload on your defense because of this. Chase Brown obviously said what he said, and Jamar Chase said what he said. And obviously Chase didn't say anything wrong, but Brown, you can't do that. Obviously, what he said was just get a stop. You cannot do that because it's a time where it's going to be on you, and you can't do that. You just can't do that. But I also get it. When you score 42 points and you lose again because your defense cannot get a stop to save their life, it's insane. The reason you got back into the game is because the defense for majority of the time was not on the field. When you score 42 and then and then you scored 38. The Jets have 500 yards of total offense with no what's his face, with no Garrett Wilson. What's his face? No Garrett Wilson. Again, Bengals defense have given up 1K over 1,000 yards in 2 games. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. No Logan Wilson, obviously, no Hendrickson. And you saw what it looked like. And then you had the audacity to be laughing, talking about, all right, see y'all Monday. Like, what to those players? What's so funny? I'd love to know the joke. I love to know the joke about giving up 1,000 yards in 2 games. I'd love to know the joke about being 3-6 when you should really be a 5-4 football team, and the reason you're not is because of your unit. Your unit is the reason why you guys aren't going to go to the playoffs. Your unit is the reason that Joe Burrow may not come back this season, because he's going to look at this and be like, I'm not risking my health. Or the Bengals will shut him down. Your unit is going to be the reason why the entire coaching staff gets fired, mainly Zach Taylor. That is going to be the reason. That unit. So I would love to know what's so funny. Truly, I know what's funny. Your defense. It's a joke. We have a deep safety back in Jordan Battle, and Jordan Battle wants to be on Here Comes the Boom. Wrap up! We have to wrap up there. And Battle's a decent, good player, but wrap up. If your name is not DJ Turner, you guys should step it up, because DJ Turner has actually played well. I've watched the safeties play well. He's played well. Outside of him, Shamar Stewart, you ain't done anything. Jack, and you're talking about see y'all Monday, and y'all laughing. It would be different, okay, if they weren't laughing, they were serious. They really are trying to figure out what's going on. But the fact that you're laughing, that if you're a Bengals fan or if you're a player in that unit, if you're Al Golden, that should tick you off. Honestly, and I don't want to be that guy to say, oh, so-and-so should lose their jobs, because I understand they have families to feed and all of that. But honestly, if I'm Al Golden at this point, because it can't get any worse, I'm just cutting people. Oh, you think that's funny? Cut. Get out of my office. Or Zach Taylor, do you think that's funny? You think give a 47 funny? Cut. Get out of my office. Practice squad player, you want it, you got it. Like, let's see what you can do. At this point, because it can't get any worse, and they're already the worst defense in the league. So it can't get any worse. You've given up 1,000 yards in 2 games. Again, it cannot get any worse. You almost gave up 600 total yards of offense. It cannot get any worse. So at this point, if you're the Bengals, you're 3-6, your season's over. What do you have to lose? At this point, by the way, it's going to look like that, because I don't know what they're going to do with Hendrickson. I haven't seen anything of my phones right now. I haven't seen anything of him being traded. But Logan Wilson's a Cowboy. So he's trying to help out that defense has issues, but he's trying to help that defense out. What's so funny? I don't really get ticked off at quotes like that, but that one right, laughing, snick, really? Yeah, no, we can't do that. Denver beats Houston 18-15. Bo Nix, really good late. Stroud went out with a concussion. Denver in the fourth quarter, man, they just find ways to do it. In Denver right now, look, they play the Raiders, and then they play the Chiefs. Chiefs are on a bye after their tough loss. We'll get into that in a moment. That game, which I believe will be week 11, that's must win. That's a must win game. You gotta get that. If you're Denver, if you want to win that division, you gotta win that, because you're not going to beat the Chiefs coming off a bye. Not coming off a bye. You're not going to beat the Chiefs coming off of a short week on Christmas night, I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think you're going to be able to do that because that's really tough. That is a really tough ask. So yeah, look, uh, we look Denver. That's a big time win for them. That's a massive win. So we will see. Look, that's a big time win for them. Then Houston, that's a brutal loss. That's a brutal loss for obviously for Houston. So we will see 3-5. They're kind of done. I don't think Stroud's gonna play against Jacksonville. Tough loss. Speaking of Jacksonville, they beat the Raiders 30-29. Rams beat the Saints 34-10. Those two games. Rams, Stafford's on a heater, by the way. Jacksonville just really playing well. Really, Trevor was great late, finding a way to bounce back. The Raiders 2-6, brutal. Now let's get to Buffalo and Kansas City. The Bills beat the Chiefs 28-21. The fact that the Chiefs were in this game late, it was how poorly they played. I mean, Josh was just great. Mahomes didn't play good at all. Like, didn't play good at all. They were able to run the ball. James Cook had under 14 yards rushing. They're getting back in terms of from an offensive standpoint to what they were doing last year, trying to be more efficient. I mean, Kincaid in this game just murdered them. 6 for 111 touch. That's what happened. He just murdered them. Nobody. Yes, he's Allen spread it around, but nobody else really did much in terms of the catch. I mean, Shakir has 7 catches, but he 43 yards. I mean, they just Kincaid killed them. In terms of Kansas City, look, Rice had a good day. They didn't run the ball enough. Look, Mahomes' efficiency was not great. Look, for intensive purposes, the Bills kicked the Chiefs' butt, and it's a 7-point game late where Mahomes is throwing a Hail Mary that's within distance. But I think the reason the Bills won is because you're able to get pressure on the quarterback. Late in the game, it's a 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. Joey Bosa is able to hit Mahomes, and that pass gets picked by Maxwell Hairston. Again, it can't. Again, these games between Buffalo and Kansas City comes down to the same thing. The criticals which is 3rd down, 4th down, these big plays in that to end the half. It comes down to that with between these two teams, and it comes down to can you get a rush on Mahomes? They were able to get a consistent rush on Mahomes in this football game. Meanwhile, the Chiefs were not able to get a consistent rush. Look, the trade deadline ends at 4 o'clock. Uh, they don't have the money to get Hendrickson, so they ain't getting him. So who they get? Reggie White ain't coming. Reggie White ain't walking through that door. Aaron Donald ain't walking through that door. So who you getting? Who you getting? Mike, nobody. Crosby, the Raiders wouldn't dare do that, right? So who's walking through that door is the question. And look, Spagnola's been able to mask it up a little bit because of how much he's blitzed. He's blitzed more this year than in years past. Even though he still blitzes a lot, he's blitzed a lot way more this season. If you are a Chiefs fan, that game is just so frustrating because because you just don't play well. Because because in these losses that they've had, the 4 losses, the Jacksonville game, you out Jacksonville played well, but I can make the argument you shot yourselves in the foot. The reason Jacksonville beat you is because you shot yourselves in the foot. It's because you throw a pick six. It's because you have a lot of penalties. It's because Chris Jones not giving that's a lot of the reason. And then also you have to think about this game. You have to think about it like this. Today I The Chiefs, the fact, and I'll say it again, it's a 7-point game. Buffalo, why did you not blow this team out? How did you not blow this team out? The Bills played great. That's the best game they've played all season. That is the best game they've played all season. Now look, for the Bills, they're still behind New England, obviously. They gotta keep it up. They go to at Miami, and then they've got a stretch of Tampa at home, at Houston on a short week, tricky. Then you've got at Pittsburgh on, I believe that's like Thanksgiving week. Then you've got the Bengals at home as well. The Bengals have a great offense, but their defense, and you're at New England. Like you're gonna have a stretch here. So look, that's a big win for Buffalo in terms of the stretch one and staying there. You hope New England slows down as well, but yeah, Kansas City, that's a brutal loss. And now you're 5-4, and you're not even in the playoff. You're in the hunt right now. And look, you have a bye, and after the bye, it starts. You're at Denver, Colts at home, short week at Dallas, 10 days off, then you got Houston, then you have the Chargers at home on December 14th. Look, I think they still go to the playoffs. Raiders, Titans, you should sell the franchise if you don't win those games. At Raiders, at Titans, I don't care. That would be 7 wins. You got to split with Denver, so that gets you to 8. You beat Houston. I think they're gonna beat Houston, so that gets you to 9. You gotta beat the Chargers or the Colts. Now, obviously, look, 11-6 will get them in. Like, and 10-7 gets them in, depending on where they are. But look, Kansas City, I'm not saying they're going to miss the playoffs or anything like that, but the signs in terms of the alert and everything is still like up. It just is. So yeah, that's not a good loss for not really a good loss for Kansas City at all. Great win for Buffalo. Arizona last night beat Dallas. Arizona, man, they compete, they battle. I thought there was a point where it looked like, oh my goodness, they are going to blow this, and they didn't because of the defense. They got Walter Nolan back, Garrett Williams as well. They were able to sack Dak 5 times. That Cowboys offense didn't do much. Dallas season's done. Let's be honest about it. Unless you go on some type of legacy run, she's done. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a night, 7 for 96 and a touchdown. Arizona wins there in Dallas. That's just brutal. All right, let me check to see if there's anything more from Adam Schefter before I get out of here. And before we get out of here, there is nothing major. There is nothing major. So yeah, that's been it from the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I've been your host, Noah Love. Until next time, see ya.